Hey, everybody, and welcome to And Action Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Tommy DiNucci. As always, I'm here with Mikey Messier, and today it's a new year, and we're going to be talking all about a new movie I'm really fired up to go make. And we're going to just dive into some of the little things, some of the tactics uh, to get ready for a big project, a big film, not only mentally, but also physically and also kind of pragmatically, Mike. But we're going to dive into all that and just talk about prep. But Happy New Year to everybody. We really appreciate ringing in the new year with you or bringing it in. Hey, Mike, can I ask you?
Sure.
Do you ring it in or do you bring it in? Because you could do either one. Either one is acceptable.
I usually hear the term ring in the new year, which is interesting because what are you supposed to have a bell like a street sidewalk Santa Claus ringing the bell? But I think I like ringing for whatever reason, maybe just traditional, but bringing works as well.
Yeah, I like ringing too, and you're right. It is in reference to church bells that would go off on New Year's, whatever, a couple hundred years ago. I like the ringing. To me, bringing in, it's a seven-card stud poker term. The low card brings in. That's a really obscure poker reference. But yeah, let's ring it in. That's a little more fun. So we're ringing in the new year, and Mike, I'm really excited because very rarely, not often. I've done it a couple times in my career. And I've been doing this for a while, about a decade and then some. And I think I've only gotten a chance to start the year off directing a movie like once.
Okay.
It's a really great thing. Like when you can direct a film right in January, I mean, talk about getting out of the gate the right way. So I'm really excited to be traveling down south and going to make this movie. This is going to be an interesting show because I can't really say a lot in terms of details. I can say where I'm going. I can say kind of the genre of the movie, but I can't really give away titles or names. But this week it's really all about us talking about the prep, Mike.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Tommy, just on behalf of the viewership here. Do you want to tell us at this time where you're going and maybe the genre of the film? Do you want to disclose that off the bat?
Yeah, so I am making an action crime thriller, and it's going to be shot down in Mississippi, which I've been to Mississippi one time. There was one time when I made a movie in Alabama, and I was acting in it. And one night, Richard Switzer, a couple of the guys, we've heard his name on the show before. We all piled into the car and we drove from Mobile, Alabama, to Biloxi, Mississippi, to go to a casino. And it was only like an hour away. So I have stepped foot in Mississippi territory just once. I'm excited to go spend a little over about a month down there, and just kind of soak up the Southern culture. Mike, you were raised in the South. There's something a little different about the South. It's kind of there's a whole different world down there, and it's a little bit of a slower pace. And might I say, sometimes people are a little friendlier down there.
Well, buddy, that's why I'm on location right now in Mississippi in honor of this show. You can see I've got what you're looking forward to, buddy. This is we got the barn and everything. The barn will be for the extras holding, and looking forward to having you down here. Well, I was actually born in Northern Virginia. It's kind of a suburb of D.C. I did spend a few years in North Carolina in Greensboro, and I'm in Florida now. And you're right. I mean, the South. It does have a different temperature, so to speak, and a different reality than the north. It's just a different type of environment, and sometimes it is friendlier. Tommy, I'm interested in seeing how the local community in Mississippi reacts to a film being made in their town. That should be interesting.
You know, the cool thing about this town that we're going to is the company that I'm working with. They've made a few movies down there, so there is an infrastructure. Similar to how here in Rhode Island, people hear Rhode Island right off the bat. You're not thinking like, "Oh, that's a place to go make a movie." But
Right.
lo and behold, we have filmmakers here. We've got actors here. We've got places that you can rent gear. We've got plenty of great locations. So, like Rhode Island, Mississippi is kind of a little hidden gem where you can make some movies. And I bet you, and I haven't been yet, and we'll do a follow-up show on this, but I bet you there's the same kind of vibe in the sense that here in Rhode Island, people get really excited about the films that we make. I bet you down in Mississippi, people are going to be really excited because it's not Hollywood, it's not New York City, it's not Toronto, Canada. It's it's a sleepy little town in Mississippi. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to beat the weather a little bit. It's going to be. I looked the other day. It's in the 60s down in Mississippi. So perfect weather to just throw a hooded sweatshirt on, maybe a light jacket, maybe just a t-shirt. You can do whatever you want when it's in the 60s. That's the beauty part about it. So I'm excited for some great weather. It's a great story. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on a later episode. But it kind of harkens back to my Vault days. If anyone's seen the movie Vault, I would say out of all the films that I've made, the one that I'm about to go make is probably closest to the movie Vault. And it's kind of fun. That's for more reasons than one, which everyone will find out about down the road a little bit. So I'm fired up, brother. But now I'm at the point where I'm going to be in town for another couple weeks. I don't fly out until I believe I'm flying out of here January 18th. So I've got a good 2 weeks plus to kind of make the most of this time and get in the right mindset, get ready mentally, and get ready physically too. So I just want to go over some of the things that I do to get my mind right and to get my body right before I go into this, because we all know when you go make a movie, it is physically grueling, mentally exhausting, very challenging. You have to deal with so many different personalities. You have to be cohesive and work with people and collaborate. But at the same time, as the director, you got to make sure that you're still in control of the reins and that
Right.
this is your ship, or wagon, I guess I should say, in that reference. You got to control the wagon and make sure that, like, okay, I love everybody else's vision, but at the end of the day, it's going to be my name when it says directed by, and nobody's going to make fun of you guys. No one's going to write really mean, hateful shit in articles about you. It's going to be me. So
You being the crew, you mean like they're not going to say that the second assistant director or the hair and makeup lady didn't do their
made a
jobs.
suggestion. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So at the end of the day, it's that fine line. So what I'm doing, Mike, is I'm kind of just, we've talked about this before on my prep episodes. I'm really reading the script. The script is your map. It's the goddamn treasure map, Mike. Everything we need to know is right on those pages.
Right.
Obviously, there's always going to be curveballs, but if I don't know the script better than everybody else, what the fuck am I really doing here? You
Let me
know?
ask you this. Let me ask you this, Tommy, and you might have just answered my question before I could ask it, because my question was going to be when you talk about prep and you're leaving January 18th to come down and film the movie in Mississippi. What would if you didn't? How do I phrase this? If you didn't prepare, what would be your fear? Like I must prepare physically, mentally, emotionally, technically, because if I didn't do these things, this other thing would happen. This bad thing would happen if I did not take the time to prepare. What is the fear of not doing the preparation?
Well, one of the biggest things that can happen, and that's a great question, Mike, but like one of the worst feelings as a filmmaker is to be on set and you're burning money. Like you're just spending money. The fucking meter is running. And an actor asks you a question about the script, or even a crew person asks you a question about the script, and you just don't fucking know it. Or you have to
Right.
think for a second, or you're unsure, or you have to go back and you have to reference the pages. And see that, just that right there, just me being like, hang on, let me check, let me get my script, let me see. Just me checking, I'm wasting time already. I'm
Yeah.
wasting money. So it's like I just gotta know that shit. And know it kind of without any hesitation. So I think that's the biggest fear. Like a person's going to ask me a question and I don't have the answer. And if the guy driving the ship doesn't have the answer, the fucking ship is probably going to crash or have some serious issues getting to that final destination.
Okay. Well, that's a great answer because now we kind of know what the stakes are, so to speak. We know that the reason to prepare the way that you're going to is because you don't want to be the director who doesn't know the answer. Perfect.
Yeah, that's the big thing. And obviously, it's kind of funny, man. Like, all right, this is a great comparison. You know how when you watch a movie that you really like and you maybe watch it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and sometimes you hear the phrasing, "Wow, you notice all these little different things every time you watch it," right? Like, "Oh, I never noticed that the first time I watched it, then I saw it again." Um, it's like that when you're reading a script, even if it's a script that you wrote, you're going to find little things, little nuances that you notice that you didn't notice on the first read, the second read, the third read. But maybe on the 50th read, you're like, oh shit, you know what we can do right here? And even if it's something as simple like, I've been watching a lot of movies, so that's something just to take a quick sidebar. One of the things I do to prep in this mode, and this is the fun part of prepping, I watch a shit ton of movies. Like yesterday, I watched 3 feature films, and I'm just taking them in and I'm soaking up the camera work, the performances, and I'm getting dialed up. It's almost like a boxer is sparring and like getting in like rounds with a sparring partner. And I'm just getting into this zone and I'm studying the color palettes and I'm trying to see what I want to emulate in my movie and maybe some little nuggets that I can steal and borrow and take and pull from. So as I watch these movies and then go back and read my script, try to read it a little bit every day, that's when I'm like, oh man, it'd be cool. Like, I'm watching a movie called Thief the other day, which is actually like one of the prototypes for our film. And there's this great scene where like James Caan's walking into a bar, and before he goes into the bar, there's a drunk guy with a silly hat on, just kind of dancing, and he's got like, and it's a short beat. It's like a 10-second, not even. It's a 5-second beat at the top of the scene where this drunk guy's kind of being silly, and James Caan just kind of walks by him and it's like, all right, get out of my way, get out of my way. Just kind of storms through him, just to kind of show like what kind of guy, what kind of place that we're in, and what kind of guy James Caan is. And just these little details, and all that is like when you look at it on paper. So you look at it with your eyes on the screen. You see, oh, it's a drunk guy dancing around. James Caan walks through him. It's kind of funny, little tiny micro beat. But on paper, that's a background actor, right? BG, drunk guy by the bar, dancing around. That might not have even been in the script. It might not. It might have just been some clever Michael Mann direction at the last minute. Like, oh, let's get one of these BG guys to be a little drunken stumble bum at the top of the scene. So these are the little details that if you don't put a severe amount of prep in the beginning, on the day, you're just not going to be able to pull together all those little details. It's going to be too late.
It adds nuance and it adds layers to a film that otherwise would feel flat, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's a big one. And the other thing that I really like to do, and this is going to sound kind of funny, but I really believe that like making a movie is almost like going off to jail. And when you go to jail, they usually use the phrase, you have, 3 weeks to get your affairs in order before you begin your sentence. Well, it's a lot of ways in the same way. Now, I'm not comparing making a movie to prison by any means. It's a lot more exciting than that. I really just wanted to use that phrasing, get your affairs in order.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize that directors and filmmakers and actors and all these we're people, so it's like there's little things that we need to do like just in our day-to-day lives. So when you go to make a movie, you're gone for like a month and then some. And I've told people this that are close to me before. I'm not really good at picking up the phone. I'm not really good at getting back to text messages, emails, forget it, during a movie. It's just not going to happen. There might be a moment where I can catch up and dig through my text messages and get back to people. But the reality is communication really drops off with the outside world when you get on a movie set, especially when you're directing. And there are a lot of little things, like, I don't know, you might have pets to take care of. You might have, whatever, you got animals. You got to figure out like who's going to take care of my animals for a few weeks. You might have medication you got to get. Maybe you got a prescription that you got to make sure you get picked up because, oh, I don't want to run out of this while I'm on production or whatever. Maybe you got an appointment that you forgot about. Like I have a dentist appointment that I forgot about that happens to fall during my production. I'm like, oh fuck, I got to move that. So it's like there's all these little human being things. How about, this is going to sound like so simple, but some things you don't think about. Did you pay the mortgage this month? Did you pay your phone bill? Like make sure that you maybe pay like what I like to do is maybe pay a month in advance, or catch up on your bills so that or get ahead on your bills so that you have just so little to think about during the movie. The idea is I almost want to go away to like a special place where I just don't need to worry about my life as Tom DiNucci, just the guy who lives in Cranston. Like he's gone.
Right.
He don't live here. He don't live here anymore. Like we're in fucking movie mode. And really, I mean, like, listen, it's not. I've used this reference before. Obviously, it's not. It's not the same thing, but it's like going off to war. Like you're gone. Like see you later. That's kind of how I want it to be.
Yeah, amongst your daily tasks, just checking your mailbox. You know what I mean? You got to get the neighbor or a relative or a friend that you trust to pick up your mail. And I mean, I'll make a little metaphor for everybody. Think about just everybody. You go out for your daily routine, and say you left your phone at home, or you left your phone in your car, and you go walk around for a few hours. At this point in time, Tommy, that's anxiety inducing for everybody to be away from your phone for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. That, especially people that are younger, they'll go nuts just for 5 or 6 hours to not have their phone. They think about all the stuff that I'm missing out on, and I'm missing this thread of communication. Now take that times 30 days when your dedication is to this movie making process, and you're not getting a lot of sleep. I mean, I've been there on film sets. The director is the last one to get to sleep because basically you're the father figure for this whole enterprise of a community. You're making like a little city state wherever you go and make a movie. So it's an intense experience, buddy.
It is, which is why I'm trying to, another thing you mentioned, the physical side of things. So here's what I like to do when I'm making a movie. When I'm making a film, I don't work out. Like during the production of the film, there's no exercising, there's no lifting weights in the morning. I just don't have the time or the strength to do it. And, some people say, like, oh, no, I'd rather get up early and it helps my mind think. And it's like, no, fuck that. Like, I need every extra bit of rest time because people who watch the show regularly, my friends, y'all know I don't really sleep a lot anyway. I'm like very lucky. Like I don't have a lot of superpowers, trust me. But one superpower that I do have is I'm lucky I don't need to sleep a lot. So on average, my sleep hours are usually around 2 to 3 a.m. I get to bed and I'm up by 7:30, 8 o'clock. So that's roughly 5 hours of sleep a night. And when you only sleep 5 hours a night, you can do a lot of extra shit. A lot of people ask me like, "Well, Tom, like how have you done all this stuff? Like, how do you do all that in 1 year?" I'm like, "Well, one big thing is I literally reduce my sleep by almost a third of what everybody else is getting. So when I'm up, those extra 3, 4 hours, they make a big difference in your day. And usually you're up in the hours when nobody else is up. So you're really getting some focused quality work time in. So, I don't sleep a lot. So when I do, but here's the thing, when you don't sleep a lot, those 5 hours are critical. So like
Right.
you really can't go below that 5 hour range. Otherwise shit does start to break down a little bit. So I
Yeah.
don't have time to get up in the morning and work out. So what I do is in the weeks leading up to a film, like right now, we're about, believe it or not, I'm less than 3 weeks away from like 3 weeks in a day from turning the camera on. So I'm just going to be training like a fucking madman for the next 3 weeks. Like every day I've been working out. I've been kind of watching what I eat. Obviously the holidays, all bets are off. But now that the holidays are over, I'm back on a pretty tight diet during the week. Weekends I let it go a little bit, and I'll have a little some fun treats. But for the most part, during the week I'm on point, and I'm working out every day, and I go pretty hard. And the reason why I do that is I want my body to be so used to the physical rigors of these workouts that when I go to make the movie and I'm not working out, my body is suddenly like, holy shit, what is all this extra fucking energy we have? We're not working out. I'm not lifting weights for an hour. I'm not doing cardio. I'm not training. Like, why do I have all this extra strength? And it's because we're not going to work out. And we did work out like a fucking madman leading up to the movie. So that's something that I think almost anything that you do, whether it's you got a movie to go do, you got a music video, a project, anything, I'm a big believer in training really hard physically before it, because then when you go to do whatever it is you're going to do and you don't train and you just put all that physical energy into whatever you're doing, you're going to have like an extra fucking power source. It's almost like in the batter's box, to use
Oh
like a
yeah, the
base.
donut. The donut. I was
Yeah.
going to say that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you ever see a batter, the donut, they'll put like an extra weight on the bat, or in the
yeah.
old days when you saw like pictures of Babe Ruth, you'd see
Yeah.
Babe Ruth holding like 3 or 4 baseball bats, and he'd be swinging
Right.
with 3 or 4 of them. And he's swinging with 3 or 4 bats because when he eventually goes up to the plate, he's only going to have 1 bat, and he's going to be able to really fucking rip that thing through the strike zone. So that's what I'm doing, Mike. I'm trying to prepare it so I can really rip that motherfucker through the strike zone.
Yeah, I was just going to mention the batter's box and the donut. You know, the donut is this kind of looks like a donut, and the guy in the box will put the donut on his bat so that when he's swinging with the donut on, he's preparing himself for when he's actually at bat in real time. That it's easier to swing the bat by comparison, and that's what you're doing with your physicality. Well, I applaud you for that, buddy. I just make sure you do that safely because you don't want to risk any injury, unnecessary injury in your training process before the shoot. That's for sure.
Well, fortunately, brother, this is something I've been doing for a while, and I don't recommend it for everybody. Maybe if you haven't done it, ease into it, but I try to go pretty hard, and that's kind of just like what my body's used to at this point.
Yeah.
Um, I remember a really cool photo from the early 90s of Bo Jackson warming up with a fucking sledgehammer, and I always thought that was pretty cool. Like he was literally holding a sledgehammer and swinging with it. I was like, wow, man, you got a fucking sledgehammer? Um,
This makes me think of your mental training, just because I remember in previous shows you've mentioned that you've really been into these Arnold Schwarzenegger, I believe, Netflix documentaries. There's a couple of, was it Schwarzenegger or Stallone that you've been kind of
yeah,
hyping yourself up
it's
on?
Arnold. Hold on a second, buddy. I gotta battle the sun again.
All right, well, folks, it's good to be here.
This one, there we go.
So
We're good. We're
you-
good.
All right. I was just
Yeah,
about
Mike.
to plug one of my books, Tommy, and you interrupted me, but that's okay.
Go ahead. Do your
Well,
plug.
it's Bad Girls with Good Tattoos. I actually didn't write this one. This is written by Kate Spain, a wonderful female author who I published through Open Share Books, but it's available on Amazon. And
Very cool.
yes, so let's go back to the Arnold Schwarzenegger inspiration here.
Arnold says to be useful, and I really believe in that. There's a lot of moments in my life that I've just wasted so many hours sitting on my couch or laying down playing with my phone, just overthinking every aspect of my life. When sometimes good things happen when you just go out and be useful. I find that a watched pot never boils, and when you're sitting there on your phone just scrolling, you're just watching that fucking pot of life. Whereas if you kind of go out and do something and try to be productive, uh, maybe good things will just happen while you're doing some other shit. It's kind of funny. I saw a meme that I really liked, and memes are funny because I have a love-hate relationship with memes because I
Sure.
see some memes and I'm like, shut the fuck up and get your own goddamn independent idea for once, okay? Just come up with something independent. This is so fucking dumb. And then other times I find a meme that like just frankly speaks to me, Mike, that I'm just
Okay.
like, whoa, that's so fucking on the money. So I have this love-hate relationship with memes. And I saw one the other day that really kind of got me. And it was simple. It just said, do more things that get you away from your phone. Like just do things that you like to do that doesn't require you to be like looking at your fucking phone.
Right.
And I kind of like, it's kind of funny. Not that this was like a New Year's resolution or anything, but yesterday I had a very productive day. It was kind of nice. Like I had one of those, I call it like a half a work day where I'm
Okay.
like, all right, I'm going to get some shit done, but also it's January 1st. It is technically a holiday. Everybody else is taking their fucking time today to chill. I'm going to try to pick my spots, get a little chill time in, but we'll get some stuff done. And I kept kind of just reminding myself, like, do things that get you away from your phone. Do things that get you away from your phone. And as I was doing it, I was banging out a lot of things on the old to-do list. And by the end of the day, I remember finally like laying down. I don't know, like around 5 or 6 o'clock, I watched the Alabama Roll Tide, Alabama Michigan game, and unfortunately, Alabama didn't fare well in the end there, and we feel bad about that because this was the first year I decided to jump on the Alabama Crimson Tide bandwagon. I bought a fucking hoodie and everything. I saw this really cute hoodie. It was only $19.99. It was on sale, and I bought it. And it
Yeah.
was just a really nice hoodie. It fit really nice. Wasn't baggy. Sometimes hoodies are baggy. This was nice and fitted.
Right.
And I was all ready. Like I was already thinking about my social media post with my Alabama hoodie, victorious.
Yeah.
And and I was gonna say, roll tide. And
But
they
it's
instead they lost. And I'm like,
the uh,
roll tide.
the tide
They,
the tide got rolled. The tide got rolled in
they,
this one.
yeah, the tide rolled right over them fucking what are they, elephants, I guess. Anyway,
Ay, ay,
long
ay.
story short, Mike, by the time I sat down to watch
Yeah.
that game at like 5 o'clock,
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking 10 p.m. in my mind. And I was
Okay.
like, geez. And I was like, wow, I got a lot done today. Like today,
Yeah.
a lot of I'm like, how could it? I was almost like shocked that it was only that time because I'm like, but I got so much done. What? How? Reason is I wasn't just glued to my motherfucking phone all day long. So again, we went off on a little bit of a tangent, but as I progress through this year and through this prep process, I'm just trying to stay busy, trying to do things that keep me off my phone, trying to kind of channel all that energy into making this film. I had a fun call with one of my producers yesterday, or our main producer actually, and he was like, "Hey guys, are you good for this call at this time or whatever it was?" And I was like, "Brother, I'm on call 24/7. From here until when we wrap. Look, I'm good anytime. Like let's go, kind of a thing."
Yeah.
So really, man, I mean, that's kind of where it's at. The 9 to 5. Let's talk about like what a day in the life of a guy who's about to start a movie is like. The 9 to 5 is one of those tricky things because it's never 9 to 5, right? These things happen. All these little details that you need to pull together. It's unpredictable. For example, I had a 3-hour call with my costume designer on Saturday at 4 or 5 o'clock p.m.
Right.
So that's one of those things where I had a call on New Year's Eve for an hour at like 6 7 p.m. A lot of people are on the West Coast, so here on the East Coast, you got time zones to deal with. So if I'm talking to someone at you know if it's only 4 or 5 p.m. for them, it could be as late as 8 9 o'clock over here for me. So it really does become like you're on call 24/7, because what are you going to do? Not take the call? You're going to not talk to your costume designer? You're going to not talk to an actor that's calling you? So that's the other thing, in this prep period to kind of get my mind in the zone. I'm already trying to detach from my regular life in these next couple weeks, because it's already like an around the clock job. A lot of people say it, and Mike, you've heard this a billion times, and people don't always understand what I mean when I say this, but believe it or not, the majority of the work is done in those few weeks before you make the movie. When you make the movie, you're literally just like carrying out all the shit that you planned the previous 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Let me quote Sun Tzu on that, or at least try to quote Sun Tzu. I believe the words are, "The battle is won before it is fought."
That's a wonderful. Is that from The Art of War?
I believe so. Yes. So it's either the battle is won before it is fought, or the war is won before it is fought. Basically, what Tommy just said. The preparation, the stuff that you do, Tommy, when you're on your own in Rhode Island, is going to greatly affect or effect, positive or negative, what happens in Mississippi 3 weeks to a month from now. So you're doing the right thing by getting all this stuff. Anything you can do now to service the project, whether it's phone calls with your key crew members, or casting decisions, or location, talking to people that run the locations, all that stuff, it's going to pay off in a month from now.
I sure hope so, Mike. I've got no choice but to have it pay off, because I am dead set on this being the best movie that I've ever made. And if it's not, and I say that with zero ego, that might sound like a cocky, arrogant thing to say, but I say it like this: if it's not the best movie I've ever made, then I'm fucking doing something wrong. I should hang it up and quit, because I've done this a lot of times now. This will be like my 13th feature that I'm directing. So it's like, well, god damn it, it better be the best movie that you ever made, with all of this experience coming into it, this amazing team that I'm going to get to link up with. And I'm really excited. One of the things, this isn't really a prep thing, but just another, yeah, I'm a little fired up about this. I'm excited to work with a whole new group of people that I've never worked with before. New artists on both sides of the camera, a whole new crop of actors down south. This movie's being cast out of Atlanta. And a lot of people have heard this. Atlanta is often referred to as the Hollywood of the East or the Hollywood of the South. Atlanta has been a big acting hub. Mike, you're in Florida. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the Atlanta, craze of production. So the reality is, Atlanta is close enough to where we're shooting in Mississippi, where you get that whole Atlanta pool of talent. So I'm excited to just work with a whole new group of people, maybe even some familiar faces, which we'll talk about on later shows. And really, the big thing is, this world is so vast, and you just don't know until you get out there and you explore a little bit. So I love making movies in Rhode Island, and I love working with the crew that I work with. There's some of the best people in my life, period. But the reality is, I think you must, as an artist, grow and explore and try to see what it's like to work with different people. Because again, this is like music. This is like a bunch of jazz musicians getting together. And hey, it's nice to, maybe if you play a little guitar with a couple of different cats, suddenly you're going to be playing new riffs and you're going to learn a little something from them. And then you're going to move on and work with a few other musicians, and you're going to hear a different riff that you never heard before. So I'm just really excited to, I say this all the time, even as a director, like, I'm out to learn every single film that I make. So this is, I think, like I said, lucky number 13 here on the feature film list, and it's going to be my best movie yet.
Can I ask you something, Tommy? And what you just said reminds me of a little two-word mantra that I have sometimes, which is get uncomfortable. People are always searching for comfort, including myself. But I think, like you said, buddy, a lot of times when you have growth in your life, it's when you've gotten uncomfortable doing something that you're not used to doing, or being someplace or with some people that you're not used to. But let me ask you this: you're making kind of this proclamation that this will be your best film ever, and I fully believe that. But let me ask you, is there certain aspects, whether it's the script, whether it might be just yourself, but is there some things, elements that are leading you to feel this way, whether it's the script or the genre or the actors or the location? Is there anything that you can kind of say, well, these are the two or three things that are going to lend this to being my best film ever?
Well, Mike, first off, I've got 4 words for you. Comfort is a killer. And you're damn right about that, because the second we get complacent, the second we feel as though, oh, everything's going to be okay, I'm comfortable with where I'm at, we stop learning, we stop striving to get better, and we just kind of end up going through those motions. So, I really I don't like that. I like the idea that we can always kind of grow and get better. So one of the reasons why I think that this is going to be the best movie I've ever made, it's kind of funny. In life, you've got to take negatives and you got to somehow just turn them into positives. It's one of those things where we had a strike last year. Everybody knows it. It was a very depressing time, and it was one of the worst times in the history of the film business. But after crying my eyes out several times, after realizing that it wasn't just the universe's plot to destroy my life, took a while, by the way, because there was a good stretch of time, most of the summer, where I thought that the movie strike was actually just the universe's way of like raining on Tommy DiNucci.
Right,
Just
right,
me,
right.
just
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, I didn't think it affected anybody but me. I thought it was all a plan to get me.
Sure.
So after a few months, I realized, you know what? This isn't a plan to get me. Everybody's dealing with this. So I said, you know what? Let me make the most of my time. And again, I can't wait to talk about it. I don't want him to get mad at me, but my co-writer, the guy that I'm making this movie with, who will be revealed as my mystery tag team partner at pay-per-view this month.
Right.
We just decided, you know what? Let's make the most of our time that we have, and let's prep this movie like it's going fucking tomorrow. Let's just
Okay.
spend every day like this movie's happening tomorrow. And all we did was we just kind of, we delicately crafted the script and we would read it together over the phone and on Zooms and on FaceTimes and get to act out the parts. And you know me, I'm a hack actor. I'm not that good. I try my fucking best, but I'm not a great actor. But I love getting in there and mixing it up. So getting to kind of converse with a real deal actor, and when I say real deal, I mean that's all this gentleman does to pay his bills. It's just great and it's exciting and fun, and we get to literally work out the script. And then we made this amazing shot list where, brother, it's fucking 50 pages long. I have a
Yeah.
50 guys, I have a 50-page long document. Every single shot in this movie already methodically crafted and mapped out so that when we show up to Mississippi and I walk the sets and I say, okay, all right, scene number one, shot number one, right here by the doorway, going down the hallway, pushing in. Shot number two, jib shot, overhead. And I even know like what lenses ish we're going to be on. So the idea, Mike, is there's so much time that I'm removing from the thinking process so that when we're on set, it's just going to be like a fucking machine gun, just cranking out shots. So I've just in this last 6 months, I've just eliminated a lot of the I don't want to say guesswork. It's not guesswork, but a lot of the thinking that you have to do when you get to set. Like I'm doing it now, and we did it over the last 6 months. So we're moving really, really quick. I got a secret weapon in this movie too, casting wise, which I can't wait to talk about. An actor that I'm just so fucking excited to work with, and I can't wait to tell everybody the story of how we got this actor to do this movie. I think that's going to be a really great surprise and a fun story too. That I was fortunate to be around. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to, Mike. I'm really excited about it. We're going to segue and shift gears in a little bit. But before we do that, I just want to go in. Stephen E was nice enough to drop in and give us a quick hello. He says he's at work, but he's coming back next week. I almost said next year. He's coming back next week. So happy New Year to you, Stephen. And Ariana, what's up, Ariana? Happy New Year to you too. I hope you're either ringing in or bringing in if you like. Either one's acceptable. The new year. Ariana and I have a really cool Christmas script that we're working on. So hopefully we'll finish. We finished the first draft. Hopefully we'll really iron out the rest of it. Now the true work begins. Let's see. ST. I think ST is oh, Susan, a new friend of ours here. What's up, Susan? Thank you for stopping in.
I don't know if that's I don't know.
Is this one of our friends? Which Susan?
I
Reveal yourself, Susan. Who are you?
I was wondering if it was actress Susan Travers from New England, who I've known for quite some time. She's a talented actress. I don't know if that's her or not.
Well, Susan, if you're comfortable with revealing your name and official call sign here on the program, Mike might know you. Maybe we know you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Kim, what's up? Happy New Year, Kim. It's great to have you here with us, as always. As we're cranking up 2024 the right way, talking about new movies.
Tommy, let me get back to a point real quick, because as you were saying about when you have to put your life on hold, you know, like oh, yeah, Susan Taylor. Okay, hi, Susan.
It's Susan Taylor. What's up, Susan? Thank you for revealing your identity on the show. We appreciate you watching along with us today.
But you're going off to make this movie, and like you said, you have to put a lot of phone calls and stuff on hold. But even in a regular scenario, Tommy, you've always got 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 projects, including this Christmas script with Ariana. So I'm sure that it's difficult for you when you're working with other projects that are at different. Those pots are in different formations of boiling, right? Like summer.
Brother, you just reminded me. You actually stressed me out right there. I don't know.
Sorry,
if you saw
pal.
it, but like if this camera, I mean, this is an HD camera, you might be able to see the little pellets of sweat on my forehead. Because, brother, you're damn right. I've got a lot of other projects to finish. My goal is to finish The Florist and get that out very soon. Soon, as in the next few weeks. And same thing about I have a fall film camp, which I did last year. And Mike Braga, who works with me, has been working very hard to put together and produce a video of that. So people who were at the fall film camp, y'all know it was a blast. We had a really good time just kind of building this movie community and just talking about production and some of the encounters I've had both on and off the set relating to movies. And now, if you didn't get a chance to see it live, you can order it. And that kind of segues, Mike, into one of the big side projects that I'm doing, which is at the start of, I would say, maybe the end of this month, beginning of February, I will be launching the Tom DiNucci Patreon page, where people will be able to, for a low, low price, kind of hop on there and watch a lot of exclusive content from the fall film camp to my show, The Florist, right down to I'm going to do weekly videos and Q&As and things like that. So the Tom DiNucci Patreon page is really going to jump off. You know, I do a lot on my social media, but everything on the Patreon page, it's going to be the shit that I can't post on social media. And I'm going to give you a real unedited version of my life in films and what I do to somehow crank out a living in this crazy fucking world, guys. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to put myself over, but Mike will tell you, you know, I haven't had another job since I was 22 years old.
Right.
I don't have a side hustle. This is it for me. So to do that, to survive in this business, I'm going to stop and take a moment to say that I'm very proud of what I've been able to do. And I'm happy to share a lot of that shit with everybody else because I think that you know, I think I need to give back a little bit somehow. And I really believe that talked about this on our last episode, Mike, but one of the things I want to do this year is give back a little bit. So that brings me to my next point. If you have questions, man, feel free to drop them down. You know, you come on the show here and just ask me. You know, we're going to do it all on And Action. You know, we're always welcome to have any questions. Let's keep them film related. Let's not ask anything inappropriate that's going to make me want to choke you through the computer because that wouldn't be very nice. But yeah, let's keep it clean. This is a family program, god damn it. And we'll get a little Q&A going. But yeah, Patreon, Tom DiNucci, it's all going down in the next few weeks. And I look forward to sharing more about that as we roll through 2024.
Well, Tommy, the film industry or entertainment in general, it's such a thing. I've said this before, where there is no table of contents or these are the 10 things you can do to be a big success in the entertainment world. What I think there is, though, Tommy, is there's a lot of knowledge out there, whether it's books, podcasts, Audible books, YouTube videos. Masterclass is a great resource. I think our show can be a great resource for contemporary times, especially. And I think what an intelligent person does, or let's put it this way, Tommy, a lot of people learn through their own mistakes. They go through the process, they goof up, and they say, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'll do this other thing. But a really advanced person will do the research, learn about somebody else's experience, and not emulate their mistakes. So that somebody else will say, well, this guy, Tommy or Mike or whoever, they did something that didn't work out, and so they had to do this other thing. So that you can learn those lessons from other people so that you don't waste your time, money, and effort and energy and get disappointed making those same mistakes yourself. So that's
Well,
part
I'll
of
tell you
learning.
what. I'll tell you what, brother. If there was a medal to be given out for having things not work out, god damn it, I'd have a whole wall full of them. So you're right. You know, listen, through all the success, there's been so many failures, guys. I can't even fucking tell you how many times I have fallen flat on my face with attempting to get projects off the ground, auditions that I've completely blown. You know, failing hard is what it's all about. You know, I'm not bashful about talking about my missteps. You know, like Mike said, that's all part of the learning experience. So we're going to be sharing a lot of that stuff. And so, Savino, this guy is a terrific, really terrific actor with some of the finest hair that I've ever seen in my life. Got a terrific head of hair on him, and he was at the fall film camp. We had a blast. Fall film camp was awesome. I appreciate you being there, brother. You know, again, we had a really great group of people, and you're going to be able to watch the fall film camp soon on video. So as we wind things down here, I just want to remind everybody to uh, stop on over and hit that subscribe button on my channel if you haven't already. It helps us out a great deal. And if you click the notifications bell, you'll get a little ding, a little ring a ding every time we post something. And like all y'all are watching along with us now, you can jump on and go live with us and ask me questions in real time. In real time, we can just kind of get a discussion going here. So, before we wrap things up, I just want to thank everybody. Again, really love all the support for And Action. This is a very kind of cathartic process for me to just come on here and catch up with one of my best friends in the world here and talk about making movies and what I love. So we appreciate it. If there are any things you'd like us to talk about too, listen, we're willing to. Mike and I do every few weeks. Mike and I will have a call where we kind of just draw up potential topics for the next few weeks. But listen, we're open, we're flexible. So if y'all got ideas on some things that you want to hear Mike and I talk about, help us out. Give us some ideas, and we'll kind of craft and cater the show to be specifically what you're looking for.
Was it was it Charlie? Was it Charlie Short Films from, I think he's in the UK, that had like 2 or 3 show recommendations in 2023, like in the early half of last year? I think
Yeah, Charlie's a smart guy. He always has a couple good ideas, so I wouldn't be shocked if that was him.
yeah, there was a particular viewer, I think it was Charlie, it could have been somebody else, that made like 2 or 3 suggestions for show topics, and we ended up using all of them.
Might have been Scott too. I got a pal named Scott from also from overseas there. So it could have been him. But yeah, look, guys, we really appreciate it. We want to hear some feedback. We want to know what you think about the show. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to check out Mike's books that he's got for sale. Give the guy a look at it. It's blending into the barn. He's invisible, the invisible man.
This
But
book,
that's a
this book got some sales. I think my buddy Adam Demoy, who's watched our show here, he bought this, which I appreciate. This is my film book,
beautiful.
and the thing with this film book, Tommy, is that a lot of people try to go from 0 to 60 in the entertainment world. Like they're literally doing nothing one day, and they say, "I want to be an actor, and I want to be on a sitcom, or I want to be in a feature film." With my book, Tommy, I try to, and a lot of books kind of give people the wrong impression that that's even possible. I think sometimes people forget you got to go from 0 to 5 before you get to 60 or 100 or wherever you want to be. You know, the smallest step is often the first one and the toughest one.
And I think that with Mike's book, you could maybe go from 0 to hero. You just never know. Anything is possible, guys. That's the crazy thing about this world. That's the crazy thing about the film business. You can go from, there's literally, we work our asses off every single day for the opportunity and chance to maybe become that overnight sensation, because it can really be that simple. You could work 20 years banging around the business, trying to do your thing, auditioning, getting turned down, writing scripts, hearing no's, and then you could get that one fucking role, or you could hear that one yes, or direct that one movie that kind of just fucking changes everything. So I guess we'll kick this year off on a positive note. Never give up, because in this wacky world of making movies, you're really always only one crazy opportunity away from your entire life changing for the better.
That's well put, buddy. Well put.
Well, I
Very good.
appreciate that. We appreciate y'all listening in. And next week, guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about The Florist. People might have remembered I made a show called The Florist not too long ago. It was created by myself and Glenn Ciano. And I just want to do like a whole overview on The Florist and tell people where they'll be able to eventually get the show and actually watch it. We're going to build a little Florist excitement next week. But don't forget to subscribe, drop your comments down, let us know some show ideas, and we look forward to seeing you next Tuesday on a new episode of And Action. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.